I've just got myself comfortable out here and been joined by the cat, who may well start meowing or winding round the tripod as she is wont to do. Uh, I don't remember when I last vlogged like this, face to face. At least a couple of days ago, if not more. It's now Tuesday, and I found it quite difficult since that. Yeah, it was Friday, wasn't it? I vlogged. I found it quite difficult, and I'm sure a lot of people have. It's completely shaken. Shaken. What's it shaken? It's shaken everything up, but that's an understatement. It's shifted completely the world picture, and I got quite despondent, quite despairing, reading all the bullshit that people were writing or saying about the debacle in the Oval Office on Friday. Um, and it's 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 unbelievable, isn't it, that people believe that the person in the wrong is the man that's been fighting a war for years, um, who's defending the West, who's defending he's defending Europe, and if that line gets broken, if Trump gets his way, and Russia takes Ukraine, or takes a lot of Ukraine, it puts all of Europe at risk. And it's very easy for Trump and his shitbag of a vice president to play the game they're playing, because there's a massive ocean between us, between America and between Europe. We're in it, they're not. I said this the other day, you're not. It's easy when you haven't been invaded. I didn't live I didn't live here, obviously, but France was invaded. Other countries, the Low Countries, Holland and Luxembourg and Belgium were invaded. So Europe remembers, and Europe knows what it's like to live under a regime, under an oppressor. But America's never felt that. So it's all very well to be cavalier about the safety of other people. Um, it's just astonishing, absolutely astonishing. And I actually hadn't intended to come and vlog this. I felt that I wanted to vlog, but I wasn't gonna say this. But I suppose just talking about how uncomfortable I felt, and I won't be alone. I know a lot of you will have felt discombobulated, is one way to put it. It's like what used to be your norm is no longer. And it was really, what was really nice was to see, because Zelenskyy left the US and arrived in the UK a day earlier than was intended. I think he was coming for, there was a meeting of European leaders on Sunday, and he was coming for that, but he actually arrived the day before. He met with Starmer, and it was lovely to see how warmly he was received by Starmer. Very different, a leader that cared, a leader with compassion. A lot of people don't like Starmer, but I think that he's doing what he needs to do, and is leading and doing an appropriate job under these circumstances. So it was lovely to see him greeted by him. So he had a meeting with Starmer, and then he met the king, which again will have been symbolic. And I'm pleased that he went and met the king. It's a pity at the last minute they couldn't have thrown on a state visit. So he went to see the king. Now, I'm not a monarchist. I don't believe in the royal family. I'm not a friend of Prince Charles. I don't like Prince Charles. But under these circumstances, I'm really pleased that Zelenskyy met with him. I don't know what was discussed, and somebody I think wrote on Blue Sky, he could fund some military aid in the Ukraine. And I'm thinking, well, you don't know, he might do. You don't know what he's done in private. He can't say what he's doing. So Europe is standing with Zelenskyy, and the bit that I don't understand, and I've checked, and it has been said again, is that if Ukraine are allowed into NATO, um, Zelenskyy will resign, and I'm not really sure I've got an understanding of what that's about or why. But I'm sure that that will make sense at some point. I'll read more about it, and it will make sense. So yeah, not nice at all, and I'm still feeling, discombobulated. Still, sort of, like I'm coming down with something, like I'm not as well as I'd like to be, and that could be happening as well. I don't know. Joe came for lunch on Sunday, and I had made lasagna, which I think I'd mentioned had overflowed, and it tasted nice, but it was a bit of a mess. And we've just finished that off today for lunch. I used 13 eggs today. I had to. We've got so many eggs. I gave 6 to Joe, and this morning I bought the pastry because I thought I've already struggled making these without having to make pastry as well. I've made, oh, fucking hell. I made salmon and broccoli quiche or tart or whatever you call it. I made that and put that in the oven, and it's not going to win prizes to look at. It's a bit overcooked. Mark will love it because he likes crispy burnt bits. It's not quite burnt, but yeah, it's not going to win any prizes. And I've made this afternoon, I've made flan, which is pronounced flan. It's FLAN, so flan. And it's like a big custard tart. So it's a big custard tart. So you can buy bits of flan here, and I like that. And it's thick. The custard is that thick. So I've made that. That's out in the utility room cooling down because you need to eat it cold, not hot. And it gets very hot. Um, that's not going to be great. It's supposed to have the custard is meant to be really smooth, and it wasn't. I could see it wasn't really smooth, but it'll taste nice, and that's what matters, isn't it? So we might have that in an hour or two, but it really needs to cool down. And we'll have some smoked salmon and broccoli tart for our supper. I made a loaf of bread yesterday, and that went a bit weird as well. Because I've had so many disasters making bread, I thought I'm going to just make the dough in the bread maker, and then I can do what I need to do and check it, make sure it's proved and whatever. So I did the dough in the bread maker, and then I took it out, left it in the tin of the bread maker, and the oven was warm where I'd been cooking something else. What did I do yesterday in the oven? Oh, I did chips in the oven. So the oven was warm, so I put it in there to prove, and it was like this much over the top of the tin. In fact, it was on a shelf, and it was touching the element, and the oven wasn't on, thankfully, so it hadn't damaged it at all. So I took the shelf out, and then I cooked it in the oven on the bottom of the oven. But it ended up like a loaf like this tall, really tall. I've had to slice the top off of it so that you can do slices that will go in the toaster, because it was just way too high to go in the toaster. And that was okay. I had that with Marmite on, but I make homemade bread and I look forward to it. But actually, the reality is it's not. I don't really enjoy it, and I prefer it as toast. And last night I had it as a Marmite sandwich, I think. So, but I won't be having any tonight because I'm going to have the tart. But I'll have it as toast, I think, next time I have it. I prefer that. So that's it. It's hazy out here. It's not unpleasant. It's been cold. Um, I got cold indoors yesterday. We've gone through the last of the wet wood, and in fact, one of the logs that Mark brought in was a big wet log that just didn't get going, and eventually he's brought in for the first time in 2 or 3 weeks, a trolley load of our wood that's out here at the front, Lepin Bois, the wood that we have delivered. So actually the fire roared away last night, apparently, because he got up in the night and he said it was really roaring. I mean, that's the only problem. It burns really well, really hot, which is too hot. The wet wood did really well until he got to the big logs that are really, have soaked up. They've not been split, and so they've soaked up the damp. So yeah, so it's quite warm in there today. It's pleasant. It's not overheated. The curtains are open, and but the nights are cold. When I woke up this morning, it was white out here again. So we're getting quite a frost in the mornings, and I think that's going to be like that for a while. But anyway, but it is March. I think the tariffs begin today. Yeah, it's the 5th of March. The tariffs begin today. I just think that is just unbelievable. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's going to work. You don't think they'll tariff you back, do you? What a dumbass. What a dumbass. Or dumbass, as you say in the US. It's like, he's just a sulky boy. And honestly, he's the most dangerous, sulky boy ever. If you upset him, he sulks and retaliates. And he's a bully. He sulks. He's just nasty. And yeah, not good. Anyway, I'm going to stop now. So it's a bit of US and a bit of here, and there's going to be people that don't like it, and I'm not going to apologise because it's about what's going on for me, and what's going on for me is what's impacting on the world, not just this little bit of France. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time.